Mr. Madness.
Thrill me.
Night of the Creeps. This is one of those 80s movies that pays tribute to the 50s, but goes down in time as an 80s movie. I don't know how to explain it, it just has that good old 80s feel. It was directed by Fred Drecker, who also did Monster Squad. As soon as it starts, we see aliens chasing after another alien who's stealing a canister that contains God knows what. The aliens' facial expressions are frozen into a permanent frown. They look just like the angry video game nerd. The canister ends up getting shot out to Earth in 1959, where a young man finds it and some kind of slug jumps into his mouth. And there's also an axe-wielding murderer, as if there isn't enough things going on. But forget all that. We fast forward to the 80s. The setting, a college, where we meet some freshmen who are trying to get into a fraternity house, but first have to pass a test to steal a dead body from a lab. Well, it turns out the body has been cryogenically frozen, and it was Slug Boy from the 50s. So what happens here is these alien slugs get loose, they crawl into people's brains and turn them into zombies. Pretty standard stuff, but awesome, especially because the effects are all handled right. It's the perfect blend of humor and scares. The characters are typical, but likable. You have the nerdy kids, the bully, the chick that everybody wants, but the guy who just totally owns this movie is a detective who's all fucked up in the head because of his bad experiences. And he was the same guy who was on the case in the 50s. And now he has to take down the alien slug zombie menace using a flamethrower and one-liners.
It's Miller time.
Miller time? I don't get it. Why does he say that? Anyway, I love this guy. He's played by Tom Atkins from Halloween 3, The Fog, and numerous others. My favorite scene is when he tells the kid the story from his past. It's so awkward and creepy. Then Dick Miller shows up. Always good to see him. It's not a real 80s movie until Dick Miller is handing out weapons. All the characters are named after famous horror directors.
Cynthia Cronenberg.
Detective Cameron?
Hey, Cunningham.
Mr. Miners. Raimi.
And we're,
Christopher Romero and James Carpenter Hooper. Landis.
It's just another example of how it's such a big tribute to the genre. It even has Plan 9 from Outer Space showing on the TV. I see this movie as more of a comedy first. It's got a little bit of Animal House and Revenge of the Nerds in it, and it turns into a zombie horror movie by the end. The last act is when things get good. If you're a lover of the genre, I recommend it. Also, if you want some more alien slugs, check out Slither. It has some of the best special effects of the 2000s. There's some CG, but most of it is the good old practical stuff. It seems to pay tribute to the 80s, and part of the inspiration may have been Night of the Creeps.
thrill me.